where is the progressive opposition to this? It's almost like, okay, well, we didn't have a choice. We had to vote for the COVID relief bill. So even though he, took out $15 minimum wage, but now where is the opposition that he's moved away from the $15 minimum wage? And he also, as progressives just signed onto a letter, a broad coalition of Democrats press Biden to expand Medicare. Over 150 House Democrats are pushing the president to include a plan in his infrastructure package to lower the eligibility age, expand benefits, and negotiate drug prices. A broad coalition of Democrats from across the ideological spectrum plans on Thursday, so yesterday, to begin what it promises will be a noisy and sustained campaign to pressure President Biden to include a major expansion of Medicare in his infrastructure package. By the way, this major expansion of Medicare is lowering the age by 5 years to 60. That's the major expansion. More than 150 House Democrats, including Representative Pramila Jayapal, the leader of the progressive wing in the House, and Representative Jared Golden of Maine, one of the chamber's most centrist Democrats, have teamed up on the effort, which is all but certain to draw Republican opposition, but contains proposals that are popular with a wide segment of voters. Disappointed that Biden has yet to act on a campaign promise to expand Medicare benefits, members of the group, who together represent nearly 70% of House Democrats, have signed on to a letter that kicks off their pressure campaign. Organizers say it will include opinion pieces and press events. Congressman Connor Lamb of Pennsylvania and Joe Negussi of Colorado are also leading the push. Quote, "It's really unusual to get this level of intensity on a healthcare proposal," Ms. Jayapal said in an interview. At the heart of the plan is a call to lower the eligibility age for Medicare to 60 from 65, adding about 23 million Americans to the federal health program for seniors at a cost of $200 billion over 10 years. The lawmakers are also pushing to expand Medicare benefits to cover dental, vision, and hearing, which would cost about $350 billion over 10 years. So, this is corporate media framing, of course, that this is a big campaign. They wrote a letter. They're going to do interviews and press releases, and it's sweeping if it goes down to 60. I have a better idea, Jen. I have a better idea. Why doesn't Pramila Jayapal and a couple others that they call the squad, and Bernie, why don't they say, yeah, for your infrastructure bill, we're not even talking about it until dropping Medicare to 55 is attached? I don't know. Is that radical? Is that crazy? Because there's different ways of pressuring. One is writing letters that they're not going to read. Another is doing television interviews that they probably won't watch, they meaning the Biden administration. Another is threatening them that they're not going to get what they want if they don't give you something of what you want, which they didn't do with the COVID relief bill, citing the urgency to pass it. But I don't know. Be nice to have new infrastructure. I think it's badly needed, but I think actual structural change in our healthcare system. Remember, healthcare was the number one issue in all the polls in the Democratic primary. I think that's more important. I don't know why they are shooting themselves in the foot by starting with age 60. Hillary Clinton said age 55. So everybody loves Hillary, right? Why not go to age 55? It just seems, I mean, if this is quote unquote the progressive strategy, good old fashioned, arm twisting through letters and press releases and interviews, we are going to be going in circles for the next 3 years.
This is nothing. Nothing's happening. This is ridiculous. The proposal's ridiculous. The strategy's ridiculous. This is just, lowering it by 5 years. Okay, sure. But this is their bold proposal, their bold idea. And I don't want to poo-poo Jayapal too much, because she does have, she is one of the ones who's at least trying when it comes to Medicare for all. But yeah, it's not enough. It's I was one of the ones who did support, force the vote, for example, kind of that going hardcore, going for it, really doing something about this, not writing letters, not sending out press releases, not just having the appearance of doing something. It's not enough to just have the appearance of doing something. And beyond that, I don't like this whole thing that is now what they all do, which is like packaging together these things all within one huge, what do they call them, the omnibuses, like the infrastructure bill. Like, why this doesn't allow us to focus on anything. It doesn't allow things to really get done in any way that makes sense. This allows it to make a headline for a day and for it to go away. It doesn't allow it to really truly get heard. And I think this is of course all on purpose. Do I think that Pramila Jayapal doesn't actually want to lower the age? No, I think she does. Do I think the squad wants Medicare for all eventually? Yeah, I think they do. But we have to think back to when AOC gave that absurd interview. I can't remember which outlet it was to, but it was a few months ago, where she said that by the time that she eventually has children and they're in college or something like that, that she hopes that they have Medicare for all. It's like, what? What did you get elected for? What are you talking about? No, this is what you're supposed to be fighting for, this right now. Now, not in 20 years. What are you doing? So this is just, it's disturbing, and it is all about appearances. We don't need appearances. We don't need PR. We need true action. We need you to be doing, going back to AOC, we need more of you sitting with the Sunrise Movement, protesting outside of Nancy Pelosi's door. And we need that fire. We need that action. This is just so disturbing. Why aren't you shooting for the stars? 5 years? Okay. Try harder, do more, do something.
And it goes back to what we've been talking about. Like, it doesn't really seem like we have a progressive opposition, more so progressive messaging. There's a difference between progressive messaging and actual fierce opposition. We don't really seem to have that fierce opposition. Another example, Pramila Jayapal tweeted, we could end the filibuster, make the rich pay their fair share, guarantee healthcare as a human right in this country, and so much more if we organize like hell for it. So that sounds good. And organize is a great buzzword. But I don't know, Jen, do you recall people organizing to elect AOC, to elect Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush recently, Jamal Bowman, all these people? We have the numbers now, not to get everything we want, but to hold up Pelosi's agenda, Biden's agenda, and demand concessions. Manchin has no problem playing it that way. Sinema has no problem playing it that way. McConnell just played it that way to get Republicans to fall in line, to block the January 6th commission. So, I don't understand. Like, what are we going to, how are we going to organize more? In what way? To get more progressives elected? That's great. But like, what's the difference if you have 5 to 10 more progressives added to the existing, if we already have the numbers to block certain things? So I'm all for organizing, but I don't particularly know what she means, because even if we end the filibuster tomorrow, it doesn't seem like you have a Democratic Party that urgently wants to pass the $15 minimum wage. I mean, the problem with the $15 minimum wage was not the filibuster. The problem was the president preemptively saying, oh, no, we can't do it through this bill because some unelected phantom parliamentarian says so. And then 8 Democrats voted against it in the amendment Bernie put forth. So it's all theater. And like Jen said, does Jayapal want it? Yeah. Does the squad want it? But I think they've just been conditioned to try and like persuade their colleagues nicely and try to, a pressure campaign on Biden. And that's not how these people respond. That's not how these people only respond if the incremental bullshit they want to do is threatened. So I don't know your thoughts, Jen.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to take, like I said before, it's going to take pressure. It's going to take severe action that actually gets attention for a reason, not a little letter that's signed by some folks, not a little PR campaign that goes away. It's going to take real action. So we have to pressure people to do that. And you know who tried to do that was Jimmy Dore. You know who did that in a way I wouldn't necessarily have done it? Well, no, who did it in a way I wouldn't have done it was Jimmy Dore. Jimmy has a different style. And that has really divided the left. I'm not saying Jimmy divided the left. I'm saying people lost their minds for a while and still have. There's so much division on the left, especially online. If people don't come together and put aside their petty BS, it's not going to happen. People need to realize it's okay for there to be nuance. It's okay to disagree. It's okay for folks to agree with force the vote or not agree with force the vote. It's okay. There are different approaches to these things. But in the end, it's going to take true action. It's going to take true badassery. Think of anything dramatically important that has ever happened in history that happened with a PR camp, like that happened with like a letter. No, it happened with badassery. It happened with risk taking. Always, always, always.